very good evening and welcome. This is News First Primetime News on TV1. Today is the 20th of December 2021. I am Jayama Ratnayaka for the News First team. Before we head into the news in detail, here are your headlines for tonight.
News First headlines. Main sponsor.
Valuable Finance, best finance company.
GMOA launches island-wide strike action from tomorrow. $200,000 as demurrage for 3 LNG tankers due to delayed tests. Prices of vegetables skyrocket as a result of the fertilizer crisis. Prices of vehicle spare parts also increased due to the dollar shortage. Anura Kumara Disanayaka invites to embark on a path of resolution. Minister Wimal proposes to seek IMF assistance.
News First headlines. Main sponsor.
Valuable Finance, best finance company.
On to your top story for tonight. The Government Medical Officers Association has announced an island-wide strike action commencing from 8 a.m. tomorrow. The strike will be launched based on 7 demands, including transfers. The GMOA launched a 24-hour token strike today across 5 districts in the country.
We have decided to launch an island-wide strike action from 8 in the morning tomorrow, and all the government hospitals in the country will experience this strike action. However, all the essential services and emergency treatment will be carried out at hospitals. Operations at hospitals for children, hospitals for women, cancer hospitals and renal units will be carried out without any hindrance, but there will be a disruption to other services at all other hospitals. The main reason for this strike is the aggressive approach of the Ministry of Health. They are resorting to strike actions rather than discussions when it comes to resolving our transfers and other major issues. The sole responsibility of this must be taken by the Ministry of Health. Those officials and the minister must be held responsible.
Doctors attached to government hospitals in 5 districts engaged in a 24-hour token strike today. Operations at hospitals in Mana, Trincomalee, Nuwara, Ratnapura and Polonnaruwa were hampered as a result of the strike. Operations at outpatient units and clinics were obstructed in many hospitals in the Polonnaruwa district. As a result, patients who arrived at hospitals had no option but to turn back home. Patients were severely inconvenienced as operations at a number of government hospitals were halted. This was the situation at hospitals in the Trincomalee district. Operations at the Nuwara General Hospital were hindered as a result of the strike action as well. However, the Government Medical Officers Association said that emergency treatment and treatment for COVID-19 will be carried out without any hindrance. The members of the Government Medical Officers Association convened a media briefing in several areas and expressed their views regarding the strike action.
This post-restriction list means that the Transfer Board has cancelled the post-restriction list at its discretion without our consent and had previously issued a post list with the agreement of the Post-Restriction Board to be issued in another month, which was very systematic. If that list had come out, we would have made it so that none of these problems would arise in another month. We asked them to put out that list. Please cancel this list at will. According to this list, if these doctors go and accept the post-restriction appointment, all the existing COVID treatment centers will have to close. If so, who will accept the fate of these patients? Is it the Secretary of Health?
The Government Medical Officers Forum spoke about the planned strike action.
What can the people do? If there is an issue, the responsibility should be borne by the head of the ministry or some other leader. There is no point in punishing the general public. I see it as a weakness of the government. This government has given priority to the Government Medical Officers Association. They have been given the freedom to do whatever they want. But now it has come to a point where the GMOA is taking advantage. This is mainly because the government gave so much power to a mafia gang.
More news follows after this short commercial break.
Valuable Finance, best finance company.
හිත මැද්දට සිසිලස දුන් ගම් මැද්ද අම්පාර ලාහුගල කඳහිඳගම ජනතාවගේ පිරිසිදු පානීය ජල අවශ්‍යතාව සපුරාලීමට ජල පෙරණ පද්ධතියක් ලබා දීම සඳහා වැඩ ඇරඹේ. ගම් මැද්ද රට නගන ජන පෞර.
Welcome back to the news. Litrogas says that over $200,000 will have to be paid as demurrages for retaining gas tankers due to the delay in the testing process. Currently, there are 3 gas tankers anchored off the coast of Sri Lanka, and each vessel must be paid demurrage costs worth $15,000 for the delay that has been caused.
Is the current situation of the gas market in the country.
Litrogas suspended their gas supply once again after serious concerns arose over the sticker that must be pasted on the cylinder. After presenting facts in court, Litrogas took steps to add a sticker to their cylinders indicating the propane, butane and mercaptan compositions in each cylinder. This was done in addition to the red-coloured sticker that was pasted on the valve of the cylinder. An official attached to the Consumer Affairs Authority informed Litrogas that the sticker attached earlier was inaccurate and that it had to be approved by the Sri Lanka Standards Institute. Thereby, Litrogas decided to suspend the supply of gas to the market. The Sri Lanka Standards Institute announced the standard of a gas cylinder. They said a maximum composition of 30% propane should be within a cylinder. All the new cylinders that will come to Sri Lanka will meet those newly issued standards. We have also allocated an insurance worth 1 million rupees in case certain accidents occur in relation to gas manufacturing. The approved composition of the Sri Lanka Standards Institute will be pasted on all our cylinders from today onwards. Steps were taken to issue the consignment of gas cylinders that arrived in Sri Lanka on board the Pericles vessel following inspections. Meanwhile, samples were obtained once more to retest the rejected consignment of gas cylinders on board the Epic Bolta vessel. The Consumer Affairs Authority earlier rejected the consignment as the mercaptan composition did not meet the standard percentage. However, Litrogas is yet to receive the results of the second test. There are 3 vessels and the problem arose with regard to 1. The composition of propane and butane met the standards, but that was not the case with mercaptan. If they tell us once more that the mercaptan composition is accurate, we will carry out all 3 tests once again. We will not accept the consignment without conducting tests. In light of the present situation, the 3 gas tankers had to be anchored off the coast of Sri Lanka for an extended period of time. Owing to this situation, Sri Lanka now has to pay demurrages worth $200,000 to these vessels. Even amidst all these issues, the gas shortage in the country has not been resolved as of yet.
The police have revealed that 7 people have died and 16 have been injured in incidents related to gas explosions during this year. A report compiled by the police shows that 18 properties have been damaged. Police said 847 gas explosions have been reported so far. According to the report, a majority of these explosions have been reported during this month. These incidents include one instance where the gas cylinder was damaged, 15 instances where the regulator was damaged, 52 instances where the pipe was damaged, 299 instances where gas leaks were reported, and 477 instances where gas stoves exploded.
300 complaints have been lodged due to gas leaks. There is no information about any criminal activity carried out with the intention of harming anyone. If there is an issue with all gas cylinders that have been issued, we should have received reports of 2.8 million incidents where explosions have taken place. Because 2.8 million gas cylinders have been issued to the market, but we have only received reports of 796 incidents. When compared to the number of gas cylinders issued by the company, this is only a percentage of 0.02. 50 incidents have been reported out of the 285,000 gas cylinders issued by LAFs. That is 0.01% of the total number of cylinders issued.
Meanwhile, incidents related to gas explosions continue to occur. CCTV cameras captured the manner in which a gas cooker exploded at a house in Kantale last evening. Our correspondent said the red safety sticker was attached to the cylinder. Another gas explosion was reported in a house in Kottavagama in Yakkalamulla. Another gas explosion was reported in a house in Vilpatha, Chile this morning. A gas cooker exploded at a house in Tholangamua, Varakapola last evening.
The report by the committee appointed to probe gas-related accidents has been handed over to the President. According to the President's media division, the report had been handed over this evening at the Presidential Secretariat.
While gas explosions continue to occur, the cost of food items in the market is also on the rise. The price of a kilogram of rice was 115 rupees at the beginning of this year, and now it is at 158 rupees. The price of a kilogram of dal was at 188 rupees at the start of this year. However, it has now risen to 268 rupees. Although the price of coconut has dropped by 6 rupees, a kilogram of dried chili, which was at 619 rupees, is now at 628 rupees. When calculations are made, the price of a meal which includes rice, posambol and dal cost 313 rupees at the beginning of this year. The cost of this meal when compared to the situation in January this year has gone up by 18%. The prices were calculated based on data compiled by the Department of Census and Statistics. News First inquired about the situation in Nugegoda and Kirulapana markets. Breadfruit is sold at 250 rupees, while 500 grams of jackfruit is sold at 150 rupees. What is the general public's opinion on the rising cost of goods?
එළවලු කන්න බෑ මේ බබෙකුට හරි මේ සුප් එකට බවල් ටිකක් ගන්න විදියක් නැතුව ඉන්නවා මේ අපි. කොහමද 250 130යි. මිනිස්සු කන්නේ කොහමද? ආණ්ඩුව කරන්නේම බොරුවක් තමයි ඉතින්. බඩි කිනේ තමයි මැරෙන්නේ මිනිස්සුන්.
වෙන්න 500ක් ගන්න එක 250 ගන්න එක දැන් 100ක් තමයි ගන්න වෙන්නේ. මිනිස්සු වැටලා ඉන්න දැන් ගොඩක්.
මේ මිනිස්සුන්ට හරි අමාරුයි ජීවත් වෙන්න. ඉතින් මාසේ අන්තිම වෙනකොට ඇතේ සත වහන්නේ මිනිස්සු ගාව.
Traders have also been affected by the rising cost of vegetables.
මේ ගේන බඩු ඉතුරු ගන්න ඉකුරු ගන්නත් බෑ. මේ පේනෝනේ. මේ මාල් මිස් කිලෝ 5යි ගෙන තාම කිලෝ 3ක් විතර මාල් මිස් තියෙනවා. වෙනදා දෙසැම්බර් වල ගහකට එළවලු ගණන් යනවා. මේ විදියට ගණන් ගෙන මේ එළවලු හිගයක් නේ තියෙන්නේ.
When the News First reporter visited the Kirulapana market to inquire into the prices, he was interrupted by a security officer. This was the situation at the Nugegoda market.
දැන් ඉතින් ජුවලරි ෂොප් එකකට යනවා වගේ තමයි අපි එළවලු ගන්න එන්නේ. ඔව් වෙනදා රුපියල් 400 ගාණක් දෙනකොට අපිට සාමාන්‍ය shopping කවරයක් පිරෙන්න බඩු ගන්න පුළුවන්. දැන් ඔයාට පොඩි බඩු ප්‍රමාණයක් තමයි අපි අරන් යන්නේ.
These are only suitable to be given to the parliament. We cannot apply these as there is a bad odor. All farmers are left helpless now. What is this government doing? We became beggars at the end of the day. There is no point in talking about this. That was a farmer who arrived at the Veravalla Agrarian Services Centre in Kurunagala to purchase liquid fertilizer. These are the corn cultivations in Kaluarachiagama, Nachaduwa in the Anuradhapura district. Farmers lament that the 500-acre land is now destroyed. Farmers say that their cultivation lands look healthy and fertile in other seasons.
මෙවට මේ කොම්පොස්ට් පොහොර දාලා හදන්පුවා තමයි මේවා ඕ කරලා මෙව්වගේ ඇටයක් හැදෙන්නේ
කන්නත් නැහැ බොණ්ඩත් නැති වෙනවා දැන් කුඹුරු කරලා ඒවත් මොකවත්ම මේ වන්දියක්වත් ගෙවන්නේ නැහැ නේ මේක ට්‍රැක්ටර් කුලියවත් දෙන්න අපිට ණයට නහන්නේ අසාර්ථක ව්‍යාපෘති කරන්න ගිහිල්ලා අපි අමාරුයි අන්තිමට වැටුනේ කොම්පොස්ට් ව්‍යාපෘති වලට ඒ වියදම් කරපු සල්ලි වලට මිනිසුන්ට රසායනික පොර මිටි දෙක ගානේ අඩුම දුන්නා නම් සාමාන්‍ය මිනිසුන්ට ආදායමක් ගන්න තිබ්බා
මෙන්න මහත්තයෝ මෙන්න බලා ගන්න රජයේ කොම්පෝස්ට් නිෂ්පාදනය කරන විදිය මේකේ සේවකයෝ ඉන්නවා 25ක් 30ක් විතර අද වෙනකොට කිසිම කෙනෙක් නැහැ කුකුල් පොහොර කියලා නිකන් 10යි ගොම නැහැ කිරිමැටි ඒ සියලු දේවල් ගන්න මේවා ගොඩ ගහලා මෙහෙ තියලා මෙහෙම තියලා ලොරි වලින් ආවිල්ලා පටවයි යනවා ඒලා පොහොර වශයෙන් ගොවියන්ට ලබා දෙනවා.
This is the pilot project organized by the government to promote compost fertilizer in Nachaduwa, Anuradhapura. This is not a fertilizer project. This is a robbery. They have put the farmers in trouble by mixing chicken manure and gravel to make compost. This project is currently inactive. The government has spent a lot of money on this, but no fruit has been borne by this project.
Meanwhile, State Minister Shashindra Rajapaksa says that fertilizer suitable for usage will be provided by China.
There was an issue with the fertilizer imported from China. That is why that stock of fertilizer was taken back. They will provide us with fertilizer manufactured according to our standards. We will have to pay when they provide us with fertilizer. They will not give it free of charge.
තව මාස දෙකකින් අහන්නකෝ ඔය ප්‍රශ්නේ එළවලු නැද්ද කියලා. ඔකට මම ඔකට උත්තරයක් දෙන්නම්. බැසිල් රාජපක්ෂ මැතිතුමා.
Is this the first time the bankrupt opposition has levelled this allegation against Basil Rajapaksa? He has a life to live. He will return after his holiday. There is no issue with that. He can come and go. The Rajapakshas will never run away.
පැනලා යන්නේ නැහැ ජීවිතේට රාජපක්ෂලා. ගැටලුවක් නැහැ නේද?
There is no issue. It doesn't matter if all 225 MPs leave the country. The dollar shortage is a matter concerning banks. We believe that this situation will become favourable.
Parliamentarian Rohini Vijayaratne expressed these views on payments made to the vessel carrying Chinese fertilizer. It is truly unfortunate that we had to pay $6.7 million to a consignment of fertilizer we did not even see a glimpse of. This is around 1.3 billion rupees. We had to make this payment at a time there is an acute dollar shortage in the country. These should not be paid through the tax rupees of the people. It must be paid through the scammers responsible for it. There are many stories circulating about this matter. The government also said they will refrain from distributing chemical fertilizer, but will allow the private sector to do so. However, not a single letter of credit has been opened until now.
The human-elephant conflict continues to plague those in rural Sri Lanka. Villagers in Valley Tuduwala Mahiyangane are the latest victims of this conflict. A herd of elephants have struck a habit of encroaching the Valley Tuduwala area near the Mahaveli River in Mahiyangane at night. Elephants that encroach the village at night ward off after destroying many houses and crops in the Mahiyangane Divisional Secretariat. These elephants have begun avoiding electric fences as well.
පාසල් යන දරුවෝ
The students of this village go to schools located far away. They must leave their houses at least at 5 a.m. in order to reach school on time. They are on the streets until 6 to 7. They must go to school to avoid danger. They turn and come back home on some days. They destroy properties. We are left to die without food. If only we can eat what we grow. What was given by the government is no longer given. Potatoes and manioc has been dug. Banana cultivations have been destroyed. These wild elephants have destroyed everything.
Villagers of Valley Tudava request an immediate solution to this matter. The vehicle maintenance and spare parts sector is only but one of the many sectors in the country that has been detrimentally affected due to Sri Lanka's acute foreign reserve shortage. Tonight, we delve deeper into the severity of this matter and how those in the vehicle spare parts sector are struggling to cope with this situation. In light of the temporary ban imposed on vehicle imports, many owners opted to repair their vehicles. But that too has proven difficult by today owing to a lack of spare parts in the market. Newsfirst toured the areas of Panchikawata and Delkanda today, which are popular destinations for those in search of vehicle spare parts to grasp the ground reality of the matter.
මේ දවස්වල බඩු නෑ පංචිකාවත්තේ ස්පෙයා පාස් නෑ ඒත් මිලත් වැඩි 500 ගත්ත බඩු 850යි
ඉස්සර 3000 කියන්නේ දැන් 10500ක් කියනවා එකට 3ක් වැඩි ඒ බඩු නෑ එතකොට මේ වාහනේට කෑල්ලක් ගන්න නැත්නම් රට ගැන කුමන කතාවද කියන ප්‍රශ්නේ තමයි මට අහන්න තියෙන්නේ මේ කෑල්ල දැන් හොයනවා මාසයකට කාලයක් ඇසි හොයනවා
කඩවලට ගිහම බඩු ඇවිල්ලා නැහැ කියනවා එන්න තියනවා කියනවා ඉතින්
කඩවල කීපයකටම ගියා ස්පෙයා පාර්ට්ස් නෑ නා පාර්ට්ස් අපි ගාවත් නෑ මොකද බඩු එන්නේ නැහැනේ ඩොලර් ප්‍රශ්න නිසා ඕඩර් කරාම එන්නේ නෑ බඩු අනිත් එක ඒගොල්ලන්ගේත් මිල මැටීරියල් කොස්ට් අනම්මනම් ගොඩක් වැඩි වෙලා තියෙන වාහන වලටත් රිපෙයාර් කරන්න ඒවලට අමුද්‍රව්‍ය තියෙන්න බෑ ඒවා අපිට ගෙන්න ගන්න අමාරුයි.
Owing to the onset of COVID-19, vehicle imports were temporarily halted since March 2020. As a result, vehicle importers warned on a number of occasions of an exponential rise in the value of vehicles. Be that as it may, the cost of repairing and maintaining a vehicle too is now an arduous task.
People of this country are in hunger. They have nothing to eat. Why can't this government understand this? A person who gets a moderate salary of around 20,000 to 30,000 rupees is unable to put food on the table for his family. Go and see at any shop. There is no milk powder. Has there been any time period in this country where the infants had to stay in hunger without milk powder? I would like to join my hands and beg this government to provide milk powder to the infants of this country. We don't need to do politics when it comes to this matter. We have not seen a single seed of fertilizer, but we are confident to pay $6.7 million to a ship carrying substandard fertilizer. But this government cannot import milk powder for the innocent children in this country. I curse these rulers. How can they live such luxurious lives? They have robbed every single resource from the poor people of this country to live a luxurious life. We ask whether these people are rulers or merely inhumane. Meanwhile, Minister Vimal Weerawangsa says that a solution will be provided to the dollar crisis. I discussed this matter with the governor of the central bank personally. He pointed out that we are getting $1.5 billion from China today. With that addition to the foreign reserves, the governor believes that we will be able to uplift ourselves from this situation. More than the decision to go to the IMF or not, whether or not to accept some unfavorable conditions they offer is important. We must engage in a deal with the IMF, accepting favorable conditions and rejecting unfavorable ones. There will be an issue if we engage in a transaction with them after accepting conditions that could harm the country.
රටට අහිතකර කොන්දේසි බාර අරන් ඒ ගනුදෙනුව සිදු වුණොත් තමයි ප්‍රශ්නයක් වෙන්නේ.
Workers' remittances received by Sri Lanka last month were at its lowest since November 2009. Central bank data shows that Sri Lanka had received foreign remittances of $271.4 million in November. This is a drop of 56% from $611.7 million received in November last year. Sri Lanka has received $5.1 billion in workers' remittances between January and November. This is a decrease from $6.2 billion recorded during the same period last year. In December, remittances usually go up as expatriate workers try to send more dollars home. The central bank in December said all the banks have been instructed to pay 210 rupees for a US dollar exchanged during December. The CBSL noted the facility is open for anyone who wishes to exchange $15,000 or more.
The annual State Christmas Festival was held at the St. Mary's College Auditorium in the Kegol parish under the auspices of Shiranti Rajapaksa today.
This year's Christmas festival was held under the theme The Birth of Christ, the brightness of stars awaken the world. Gifts were presented to children during the event. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa addressed the event via Zoom technology.
The dying words of Jesus Christ was to forgive those who commit sins without knowing. He taught us an important lesson when he forgave those who crucified him. The government has always worked to provide state patronage to other religions while providing patronage and protection to Buddhism. Taking matters beyond words, we have proved that.
Leader of the opposition Sajid Pramadasa requested the president once again to release former parliamentarian Ranjan Ramanayaka with all of his democratic rights restored.
Leader of the opposition Sajid Pramadasa visited former MP Ranjan Ramanayaka at the Valikada prison this morning to inquire about his well-being.
Ranjan Ramanayaka මැතිතුමා අද හිරගෙදර ඉන්නේ ඇත්ත වශයෙන්ම හොරකම් කරලා මිනි මරලා නෙවෙයි.
Ranjan Ramanayaka is in prison not for looting money or committing murder. He is a person who always spoke fearlessly for the rights of the people. I spoke to the president regarding his release on numerous occasions. I once again request the president to grant him full freedom and grant him the opportunity to serve the community once again. I believe that the president will take a humane decision in this regard. We request to release him with all his democratic rights as soon as possible.
මම විශ්වාස කරනවා මනුෂ්‍යත්වයේ නාමෙන් රංජන් රාමනායකගේ මිනිස්කම ගැන හිතලා ජනාධිපතිතුමා හොඳ තීන්දුවක් ගනී කියලා. ඉතාමත්ම ඉක්මනින් සම්පූර්ණ ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදී අයිතීන් සහිතව ඔහුව නිදහස් කරන්නයි කියන එක අපි ඉල්ලීමක් කරනවා.
Will vaccination cards be made mandatory to visit public places? Journalists raised this question at a media briefing in Colombo today.
We have discussed about that for months. Before we could implement it, we have to look into a lot of things. There are some people who don't want to get vaccinated, and it may be their right to not be vaccinated. We have to consider the legal side about this as well. There is a challenge on producing the vaccination card because you cannot laminate it and you won't be able to write the next jab on the vaccination card. Considering all of this, we have to carefully approach this, but we have not stopped discussing mandatory vaccination cards.
හැබැයි ඒක අපි නවත්තලා නැහැ මේ පිළිබඳව අවශ්‍ය කරන ඒ මම කියපු කාරණාවලට ආමන්ත්‍රණය කරමින් ඉදිරියට යනවා අපි. අපි දැන් මෙතන හිතන්න ඕන දේ මොකද්ද? අපි ආවට පස්සේ
What we have to think is that, are we going to let this variant come and destroy our health system, restrict us from our day-to-day activities? We urge the people to get vaccinated and adapt to the new normal. We all know that the Omicron variant is rapidly spreading across the country and the world. Now, the Health Ministry has urged the public to celebrate Christmas in a very simple and charm manner. Even though you have been vaccinated, the Health Ministry suggests that people adhere to every single health guideline that's been issued. And there are serious concerns if the Omicron variant and Delta variant could lead to a super variant. For the Newsfirst team, I am Vasu.
Media spokesman of the Samagi Janabalawege, SM Marika, says the SJB is prepared to mobilize a program going beyond criticism to develop the nation.
With the situation in the country at present, the people are not only searching for an alternative group of leaders, but also a process that goes beyond criticism. As the Samagi Janabalawege, we are ready to implement such a mechanism. Piecemeal efforts will not suffice. We will not only explain to the people how we intend to assist the nation in its recovery, but also apprise the people of how we can climb out of this rut we are in. We cannot endure this situation with the vision of Madamulana alone.
We have more local news lined up for you, but before that, let's shift your attention to Chile, where leftist candidate Gabriel Boric has won Chile's presidential election to become the country's youngest ever leader.
In what was expected to be a tight race, 35-year-old former protest leader defeated his far-right rival Jose Antonio Cast by 10 points. Boric told supporters he would look after democracy, promising curbs on Chile's neoliberal economic model. He will lead a country that has been rocked in recent years by mass protest against inequality and corruption. Boric's victory prompted celebrations on the street, with his supporters waving flags and honking car horns. In his speech, Boric said he was taking on the job with humility and tremendous sense of responsibility, vowing to firmly fight against the privileges of a few. Official result gave Boric 56% of the votes against Cast 44%. Cast conceded defeat barely an hour and a half after polls closed and with around half of ballots counted.
The leader of the National People's Power, Kumara Dissanayake, says that solutions for the prevailing economic crisis in the country cannot be sought individually and that all factions must unite to revive the economy of the country. Kumara Dissanayake expressed these views addressing the party's national convention that was held today under the title A Promise of Recovery for a Shattered Nation.
The national convention was held in Sri Jayawardenepura today. Many personalities representing many fields, including MPs representing the National People's Power, professionals and artists attended the event.
At the end, our rulers and their close allies become rich and we become poor. Not only us, the entire world is searching for a new path. People are now open to different opinions. Join with us. Let us work and embark on new ventures and let us be committed. Let us unite to make a more beautiful world.
People cast their vote in 2019, placing a lot of trust in Gotabaya Rajapaksa. However, that trust was breached in a very short period of time. People in Sri Lanka had to face a plethora of issues, including economic, social, cultural and political crises in the last 1.5 years. We witnessed the disaster that befell after one man was vested with so much power. Instead of a system change, what took place was the destruction of the system. We need to unite if we are to bring some change to the system. All of us need to line up for a unanimous. These people behind me cannot do this alone. All of you should join hands with us. Then only we will be able to strike some change. When people were on their deathbeds, the rulers looted money from antigen test kits, quarantine procedures and from workers' remittances. They even looted from the meal that was provided at quarantine camps. When the farmers are left helpless with no options, the government attacks them with nano-nitrogen fertilizer and Chinese fertilizer. The root cause of the collapse of this country is corruption. The results of this corruption has resulted in so many white elephants. Mattala Airport is one such white elephant. Our debt, which was at 1 billion in 1950, is now at 100 billion. People booked charter flights by collecting their salaries to come to Sri Lanka and cast their vote with the expectation of someone building this country. The younger generation of this country drew murals on walls with a lot of expectations. No one in this country went to the polling booth with the expectation of someone robbing this country. Although the citizens had a benevolent dream, the rulers had a malevolent dream. The rulers wanted to place their family members for the generations to come. Citizens' expectation and the rulers' want was two different things. But let us gear up for a governance where the citizens' expectation and the rulers' want is at the same level. We can only achieve that by building a public force with the participation of everyone.
And on that note, we bring to a close tonight's edition of Primetime News on TV1. For the Newsfirst team, I am Jayama Ratnayaka, alongside our sign language interpreter for tonight, Taraka Gabriel. Do remember to take care, stay safe, and have yourself a good night.